Right, so something I mentioned in yesterday's video that I thought was particularly cool feature-wise, and there's something that'll be added to the Higher Highs site soon, is the ability to compare stocks side by side. And so I can't show you the the live version of that at this stage, but I can show you roughly how it might work using something like ChatGPT. And so all I've got to do is, let's say I find my source files, and so you can see here I've got all of the Apple financials, all the Apple pricing data, the NVIDIA financials, NVIDIA pricing data, and Tesla. And let's say that at the moment I was trying to decide, do I want to invest in NVIDIA or do I want to invest in Tesla? Let's say that I've kind of got to choose, how to allocate my finances between either or for whatever reason. So I'm going to go open. ChatGPT will load it into its little window, and I can now ask it pretty much anything about these two stocks. And so on the site that I use, it'll all be API driven. So when we build into the site, it'll be much quicker and faster. But as an example, I can say, please analyze and analyze. Can't type today. The two stocks. Oh God, I really can't type. The two stocks attached. One is NVIDIA and one is Tesla. Please compare the major financial information that you think is important. Put it into a table and tell me which one is the better performer / healthier stock. At the end of the table, or at the end of the answer, please put a conclusion as to which you would suggest to invest in and why. What can I ask it? I am keen on ones with greater consistent revenue year on year, greater consistent revenue gains year on year rather than profitability. So let's hit enter and see what happens. And so my question's very clumsy, I could make it a lot better, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So it's really cool. So it's going through, these two documents, and there's a ton of data in the documents, but it's interesting. You can basically go through and say, well, market cap, NVIDIA is slightly larger, NVIDIA leads in total revenue, quarterly revenue growth. That's the thing that I was really interested in. So it's saying that NVIDIA's revenue growth, is growing exponentially. Gross profit, 97 billion versus 17 billion. NVIDIA dominates in profitability. NVIDIA is far more efficient. And so I find it really interesting that it can go through and just produce this side-by-side comparison table, between two stocks that, lets you, perhaps work out to invest. And so down here, the conclusion is saying, since you prioritise consistent revenue gains over profitability, NVIDIA is a clear winner. Massive revenue growth and dominance, high margin AI make it a stronger investment for long-term expansion. Tesla, blah, blah, blah. So on the table, can you please add a row where you can assign a score out of 100, with 100 being the best, where you think the stock will continue to perform well over the next 3 months, let's say. I'm not sure what else I should ask it, but that's a good point. So I'm going to hit enter. Let's see if it adds that to the table. So I'm just asking it to give it a score. How it comes up with that score, totally up to the AI. One of the things I've realised is spending a lot of time with AI is I realise that I'm not actually very good at asking it good questions, and no human is. I've encountered that, with everyone that I talk to, where the AI is limited by what we know and how good a question we can ask it. And so what I'm going to do is I'd actually like to say, get it to ask the question of itself. And so what I'd like to do is say, I have $100,000 to invest between NVIDIA and Tesla. I assume we've got Tesla. NVIDIA and Tesla. Can you please create an AI prompt that helps me work out how to split my investment and weight it between these two assets? My goal is to put more money into the one where the price is most likely to keep going up over the next 12 months more aggressively than the other. Please, put the answer in. So I'm not going to ask it to put. When the answer is generated, I'd like to see it in a side-by-side comparison table explaining the advantages one over the other. Can you please come up with a question I can ask the AI to give me the best answer for my objective? E.g., what sort of things should it look at in the files attached? So let's see what this does. I'm not looking for the answer. I'm looking for the question, because I'm a limited human being in my ability to ask it clever questions. So let's see what it says. Here's an AI prompt, and this is just something I use more and more and more, and I do get a better and better answer. So that's the question. It's saying the AI pulls relevant data from the financials, aligns with your aggressive growth focus, and gives a clear investment decision in a structured format. So let's go up here and let's copy this, and I'm just going to say here, copy, paste, and let's see what it does. Let's go. So whether it's much different to the question that I asked it previously, who knows? But it's just incredible how you can go through and compare. So here's talking about institutional investment, and I don't think we had that on the previous table, did we? No. So it's looking at different things. So when it's coming up with its version of how to compare them based on my goal, it is quite interesting. Market momentum, competitive position and trends. Given that NVIDIA significantly outperforms Tesla revenue growth, profitable earnings estimates and overall market position, heavily weighted allocation towards NVIDIA is recommended. So optimal split, 80% NVIDIA, 20% Tesla, 80 grand in NVIDIA, superior revenue growth, AI dominant, strong institutional backing, 20,000 in Tesla, still an EV leader but slower revenue growth and tighter margins. NVIDIA is the clear growth leader in explosive revenue expansion, strong profits and dominant position AI and data centers, sectors with huge future potential. Tesla, while still a major player, faces slowing growth and margin compression due to competition and pricing pressures. For an aggressive price appreciation next 12 months, NVIDIA is the stronger bet. And so, whether you're happy just to believe AI at face value, or whether you want to reach out and, have a broker go through and analyse it, I just think that the ability for AI to be able to look at any stock on the market and compare it, with another stock on the market, I just think is so impressive how quickly it can do it, and, how it can come up with a better, perhaps, conclusion than, what your question, would initially suggest. And so, on the higher high site, one of the things that I want to do with this is, for all the stocks that you have in your watch list, I'd like to be able to have a, side-by-side comparison with, 3 or 4 stocks, and, see what answer it comes back with. I'm just going to see if I can add, I've got NVIDIA and Tesla. I want to see if I can add Apple and just see if I can add it to the table. But when I've done this previously, you can see that Apple is so much bigger because it's got a lot more history and it's gone for a lot longer. So we'll just see if it allows me to do it, or if it kills it, because I'm still using the free consumer chat GPT, because the the API ones that we use are the the ones we put our money into for the API stuff, for the website. So let me see if I can do this. Can you please do the same exercise as above and add this Apple stock data into the analysis. Let's see what happens. It might say I've got too much information. No, that's quite good. So here we go. So let's see what this one now spits out. So NVIDIA was the winner previously. And let's see how it allocates it. So it's interesting. It's saying, 60% NVIDIA, 30% Apple, 10% Tesla, strongest revenue growth, AI dominance, best margins, massive revenue, steady earnings, diversified tech leader, EV sector exposure but growth concerns. NVIDIA remains the strongest growth stock. Apple is a safer, more stable long-term play. So, it's just clever. I genuinely like playing with AI and seeing how it will interpret data and spit out a result, and then it's up to us as humans with our big brains to try and work out if it's something that makes sense to us when we see the results. As always, none of this is technical, is investment advice. It's just me playing with technology, and I do like the independence of being able to ask an AI to analyse stocks versus a person who might have, perhaps biased opinions, or might not have done the same amount of research, or not be across stocks as well as they perhaps could be for each different stocks. We'll be able to do this with 30,000 different stocks across the market. And then the thing that I'm really looking forward to is, remember up here where I asked it to give it a score when I said, give us a score of the health of the stock and how likely it might be to continue to go up, this 3-month performance score. I'm looking forward to doing that over 30,000 stocks, and then being able to say to our people who use the site, here's what the AI thinks, based on feeding it all the same data, all the same information. Here's how the AI has come back and ranked all the stocks, and it'll be fascinating to see if there's stocks that appear at the top of the list that are just stocks that I've never heard of before, or haven't seen, or haven't been on my radar. And it'll be fascinating to be able to do all that analysis in an automated way that a human could never do. To go through and analyse 30,000 stocks side by side in an Excel spreadsheet, that'd be the end of you. That'd be the first and last job you ever had. But I do think it's exciting days ahead of us, and it's quite interesting. I've also just to say, I've also only given it I've only given the AI the stock financial information. I can also feed it the price, so I can give it the open, the low, the close, and the high for the day, and so it can work out based on the candlestick patterns. It can work out based on the momentum of the stock, the moving average of the stock, where the stock might be going, price action wise versus purely a financial opinion. I can give it the last 10, 20, 50 news headlines for that particular stock that it can analyse, along with the content of the news. So you can basically say, here's all the news headlines related to the stock, here's all the price data related to a stock, here's all the fundamental data related to the stock. And what that gives you, it gives you the ability to interpret hype And so what I mean by that is Tesla, and NVIDIA, I'm sure we all know, are massively overvalued if you look purely at their financials. But if you start to take in the opportunity that they represent, the future opportunity that they represent, that's where you can start to, see where the real moves might be because of that whole hype behind, the news that, is being broadcast about the stock and, how the price is performing. So perhaps a longer video, but I just wanted to show you how this side-by-side comparison stuff is getting really cool. If it's something that interests you, leave some feedback, and if it's not, I apologise, and I'm sure you wouldn't have made it this far, and I look forward to this being, available on the website in a very short period of time. But again, I just wanted to show you this is the sort of stuff that we're playing with, and it's very, very interesting. I think it's quite fascinating. Anyway, thanks for listening.